Sam and friends are back, but this time we are scamming our opponents out of more than just their money. We're also scamming them out of their happiness as we shred apart their hand and exile all of their creatures with a Grief Solitude scam package. So, let's begin. Going into round 1 we have the play. Mulligan to 6 and start out with the Cauldron Familiar. We have a turn 4 win in hand as long as our pieces stay intact. Our opponent plays a land and 2 baubles. On our turn 2 we decide to keep our Sam in hand so that our turn 3 will tutor a Viscera Seer, and on turn 4 we can play both pieces of the combo and win. Our opponent plays DRC and ships back to us. Having only 1 mana up, we are free to play our Ranger and tutor our Seer, looking to win the following turn. Our opponent plays an Iteration, Bauble, and land, gets in for 3 and passes the turn. On our upkeep, we sack our Ranger-Captain to clear a path for our combo. With no response from the opponent, we just play out our pieces and win the game. Sideboarding, we bring in some more removal and some hate against non-combat damage to protect our pieces from bolts and unholy heats. Game 2, we keep a great hand with removal pieces and turn 1 Grief. Our opponent plays Ragavan, which we decide to leave for a turn, skirming a Grief, taking our opponent's interaction. Ragavan hits us, stealing an Ephemerate, luckily for us. Our opponent follows up with a DRC and a Relic of Progenitors, surveilling a land to the bin and then eats our Feign Death. On our turn, we remove both creatures and get in for 4. Our opponent plays Unlicensed Hearse, eating our graveyard with Hearse and Relic. We untap, drawing an Orcish Bowmasters. We get in for 4 and hold up the Bowmasters, hoping they crack the Relic for an extra card. Our opponent fetches to thin the deck, cracks to the Relic, and we respond by firing off our Bowmasters, pinging our opponent for 1 and amassing 1 on ETB, and again when they draw a card. Our opponent goes to 3, untaps, and concedes the match. Round 2, and again we have the play. We keep a nice hand with Solitude, Ephemerate, and a follow-up Bowmasters. We lead with the land and hold up our Solitude. Our opponent plays land and Forest Cycles, so we're up against Living End. This Bowmasters is about to put in some work. After our opponent plays a land on 2, holding up some Cyclers, we flash in our Bowmasters to ping them for 1 and amass 1. We get in some more damage with our opponent cycling, and we draw a Viscera Seer. With this we can play out our creatures, and in response to Living End we can sacrifice our board to get everything back after it's cast. Our opponent stares death in the face and laughs as they continue to cycle and allow our Bowmasters to deal almost lethal damage. We sideboard in some graveyard hate and go to game 2. We keep a 6 with only 1 land in hand and a Leyline. We hope that this can be enough until we can find the second land for our powerhouse in this matchup, Orcish Bowmasters. Instead, we find the same Leyline we just bottomed, play our land, and hold up a possible Solitude scam. Our opponent cycles, shocks in a land on their turn, and we find our second land on ours. We get to hold up the Bowmasters for when our opponent cycles again. They cycle Master of Waves, which doesn't draw, and then Mountain cycles, which also doesn't draw. So our Bowmasters will just get some end of turn value. We can't play our Sam here, but even if we could, a Shardless Agent casting Living End and wrathing our board would be pretty bad. Instead, our opponent cycles a Street Wraith, triggers our Bowmaster, and scoops. This league was a trial for an idea I've been toying with for a living end metagame. Having Bowmasters and Ranger-Captain is great, with a Samwise combo for backup win and scam package. It didn't perform great this league, with these being the only 2 wins, but I still believe there's something there. How would you guys build this different? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Catch ya.